was a lot of milestones from the concert to when they were supposed to respond. We hit up Kamala, we hit up Trump, I ain't even hit up fake Biden. I hit up even Trump's son, one of the advisors. Like we went direct to guys. Like it wasn't just we posted on social media. Fucking sent messages directly to their asses because I wasn't playing.
Yep.
So time's up.
Well,
and Christina said no negotiation.
Fuck negotiating. We already did past that. That's what all them treaties they violated was negotiation. So we didn't already pass that stage. They violated every single treaty they can't be negotiated with.
Yeah, but they kept trying to keep going with the Build Back Better spending. That shit didn't pass. I was adamant as they would keep going in the news with their bullshit. Spiritually, I was sending that shit right back. Nope, you're not passing. You're not going to continue this fucking government and pretend y'all out of business. You shot yourself in the fucking foot. We just waiting for our people to wake up, rise up.
Mm-hmm. I know this.
You want your shit back? It's ready.
Now look, I'm not vindictive, right? But I will fuck a motherfucker up about my family. I don't have no problem with that. And I take it how far I need to go in order to take care of the family. Now it's the whole goddamn family in distress. Ain't no one motherfucker gonna come in and keep me from, I guess, too many of us. I can't, if the weight on my shoulders, I can't buckle. Right?
Like she had the luxury of being comfortable or maybe not seeing it. But when I walk out my door and I drive around my city and I look at people that look like me and we all suffering and I'm like one fucking flea away from being on the street like them, fuck that side and we're bringing everybody up. Not the one that's sitting high on the hog.
You know, especially when they misleading and cheating the people and trying to get me to sell out. Now that's the part that pissed me off. How the fuck you gonna try to get me to sell out? You almost didn't know I'm the most tested motherfucker in the history of the world. Every motherfucking clan sent somebody to see if I'm a bump straight, and I always bump straight. Right? When they bump me left, I bump back left. When they bump me right, I bump back right. When they bump me straight, I
So
bump
is
back
there
straight.
anything you can do to keep going with the Larry Hoover? Anything else that we haven't thought of that we can pursue?
I'm not even trying to think of nothing. I want mama to tear this bitch up so they'll see I ain't bullshitting. They'll get their attention.
And wait.
Now, she don't have to tear this motherfucker up if we see the three kings. It's not necessary. The weather will adjust to the climatic conditions of the season as soon as we see them. But until then, her and her daughter's just gonna rain the most beautiful destruction you motherfuckers ever seen while y'all screaming for mercy, and she ain't gonna have none because y'all already exhausted all of the merciful means. It's not personal. See, people be thinking that it's vindictive, it's evil. How in the fuck is it evil when these motherfuckers got us killing each other? They training our kids how to be pedophiles, draining their blood. Like me telling the motherfuckers a fraud is weak.
Well, I mean, that's why I was just trying to tell you it's confusing. It was confusing in the beginning because we were trying to keep our eye on who is the enemy. And then when you have somebody like right standing next to you, they're the enemy as well. You didn't know. So it was just, it got really mucky in the end for me. Well, I just had to step back. Like, this is crazy because my energy's been on the motherfuckers that got our shit. They've been playing pedophiles, all of them, watching all the cleanup, making sure that the white hats transition it to the green hats. And who's the green hats? Indigenous people of the land. So we can get to a certain point. Yeah, we getting to say, yeah, Trump comes back. Yeah, the Republic. That's not our shit though, guys.
Yeah, I don't fuck with no republics, no democracies, all that shit Roman.
So y'all need to pass that word out. We about halfway there.
All that shit Roman. All you gotta do is go back. Plato wrote the Republic. Plato wrote the Republic. He was a Greek. The Romans took the Republic and created some shit called a democracy. Right? And they use the artificial democracy to run a hand-picked selection process in your face. They got the people believing they
The
vote
two-party
count.
system doesn't work. We've proven it. Somebody in the comments was saying.
Look,
And it's like when one year the next group gets mad and then they send all of their people in, and then it's always an imbalance fighting. So whatever it was, that's not us. And so a lot of us are getting caught up with the patriot movement, the white hat stuff, the Nasera, the digital currency backed in gold shit, but that's still not us. That's not us.
yeah. So in mine said Chief Malik Bay. Chief Malik Angel Bay, the Chicago Red Bull, Larry the Chicago Blue Bull, and I'm the gorilla that's bringing the bulls home. So Big Tukey is the West Coast Bull, the crooked man walking. I done already post the indigenous tribes and the Dawes Roll. The Dawes Roll still doing the crooked man because they couldn't stop doing it. If we ever wanted to get back on top, when them Dawes Rolls decided that these motherfuckers wrote treaties with them and wasn't going to keep them, they sided with us. So they had to keep the dances going on the land. Even though they didn't have the blood right, they was able to keep the rituals in place. And then later on, they was able to twig in through marriage, right? So they mixed. They from the land and they from the land across the water. They came over here as the workers on the ship, the what they call ship hands, deck hands.
Mhm.
And the deck hands was the indentures when they hit land. And the indentures was the ones that they signed Dawes Roll contracts with. Now watch how they played us, because it's real subtle. You won't see it if you're not paying attention to their operations. They took the elders out of our community because they wasn't allowed to kill them and put them among strangers in the Dawes Roll so that they can tie back the bloodlines of the indigenous people to the Dawes Roll. In other words, they kidnap your grandmama and they put her in a household full of kids that ain't hers and tell her to raise them.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they miseducating them through an educational system on purpose. But Big Mama
Mm-hmm.
telling them the truth of they self, who they is, how they got over here, and they don't know how she know this shit because she can't read, so she didn't get it out of a book. But she's telling these motherfuckers where they came from, how they got here. And when they realize these is them ones, we don't want no parts of them motherfuckers that brought us over here because they got the fake shit. Big Mama right here got the real shit, telling us the real. The largest repository of voodoo knowledge right now is in the hands of a so-called Jewish woman in California. And she takes students. And she got a voodoo textbook she wrote herself based off the rituals she got from Big Mama that taught her firsthand. She don't look nothing like us, but she kept that shit alive for us. Madame Blavatsky gave us the theosophy to let us know there ain't no religion higher than the truth, motherfucker. Right? Rudolf Steiner gave us anthroposophy. Right? Anthroposophy is the philosophy of anthropology, which is the study of ancient history. And it's of the sophist order. That's why you got Sophia. It's the ancient history of Sophia. That's Isis unveiled. Tied him right back into Blavatsky. Israel Regardie wrote The Middle Pillar. The middle pillar is about waking your kundalini. Straight up the middle. Bump straight, motherfucker. Because when you get to turning all crooked and shit, the motherfucking kundalini don't want to rise. Bump straight. That's it. Right? Manly P. Hall, master of masters, kept the records, kept them clean, and then put the information in the public domain. He don't look nothing like us. Aleister Crowley, they called him the wickedest man that ever lived. But if you study Thelema and you know who Iwas is, you're going to take another look at him. Franz Bardon don't look nothing like us, but had all Thoth secrets in his motherfucking collection of works. Right? What the fuck is he doing with Thoth information if these motherfuckers is the devil and Thoth is the one that's got to get us out of this motherfucking connection?
They got it, and they a thing called copyright. They want to make some money off our shit.
Here go the problem. One of us get a little bit of knowledge, and our egos make us want to be better than our brothers and sisters. Oh, I know more than you, you an idiot. But they keep thinking us country boys is dumb because we don't have no alphabets behind our name. Whatever Big Mama say do, it's gonna get done. We're gonna figure out how to do it. We're gonna nigger rig the fence to make sure the horses don't get out. Right? We're gonna Jimmy rig the lights to make sure that when the motherfucking power go down, we still got power. We're gonna dig trenches and moats to make sure that the motherfucking predators can't get to Big Mama house.
Some of us are.
I'm talking about her real boys.
I'm just saying some,
you know,
but not all.
Yeah. Well, the ones that's her real baby's gonna do the work. They don't got no problem doing no work.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. The real gonna show. This shit is all about the real gonna show.
So I don't be hiding. I don't give a fuck. Bring them. Take them. You look. If a motherfucker bump straight, they ain't gonna have no problem out of me. As long as they stay crooked, then they gonna start having a problem. Cause I'm gonna start saying something to their ass, and they don't like it the way I say shit to their ass. Right? So when motherfuckers threatening me with voodoo spells, right? How you gonna put a spell, a conjure on the king of the conjure? Make this make sense. The motherfucker that's got all of the magical keys.
They haven't been paying attention because we done been through this. We done had like so many rounds of motherfuckers with doing black magic candle.
Mirror.
They've been doing it and they work and they still trying it. So it's funny now. It's amusing.
Hey, look, I got a clerk at the gate that can say, always say, return to sender. That shit don't belong here. So when the clerk say it don't belong here, it ain't getting in. Mama say it don't belong here, it ain't getting in. Big Mama say kill it, it's dead. You know, so
I did them devil's food cakes. Return to sender.
I'm gonna let somebody in to ask some questions, Rashida.
Yeah, I'm out. So I'm good. So I'm gonna leave. You continue teaching.
Well, I only got a few more minutes before I run out of juice. Let me plug this motherfucker in so I can get a couple questions in.
Plug it in. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. I don't have a full description of the blue rock from the book, but I can tell you from experience, it don't mean what it say.
Okay.
So the blue rock, that's the York Rite Blue Lodge. Remember the War of Roses?
Absolutely, with the Yorks and the Lancasters.
Right. Well, the Yorks, Baba owned that now. He took it over through erudition and ascension. So when he say the blue rock, he's talking about the one that nobody don't know coming off the Blue Lodge, which is the York Rite. And it is the same if off the Red Lodge, it's the Black Rock. And no matter how you look at it, it's the stone the builders rejected. The stone the builder rejected, we know becomes the chief cornerstone, right?
Okay.
But where do it come from? When you go to Daniel and it talk about the giant with the head of gold and the feet of iron and clay,
Right.
and being the Babylonian empires, right?
Right.
And then it say, what was the end of it? A single stone would be hewn from the mountain without the hands of a man, and will roll down the hill and strike the feet of iron and clay. Remember that?
I sure do.
And that brings the whole unholy Roman Empire down. So the iron and clay is the symbolic of America, the great melding pot. You can't meld iron with clay. But what it's talking about is the royal bloodlines mixed with the peasantry. So when we're talking about the stone the builders rejected, besides the biblical reference, where else do you find that stone being hewn from a mountain? That's the story of the Monkey King, Sun Wukong. In India, the Buddha called Sun Wukong Hanuman, which means a handy man, a man that's handy to have around, know a little bit about everything, which brings us to the riddle. A jack of all trades, master of none, is still better than a master of one. So it's saying that the handyman know a little bit of something about a little bit of everything. And then he's going to put it all together so you can see the big picture. So this is what the blue stone is. It's the blue house, the blue lodge. It's the one being trained. And this would bring an end to all of those other nefarious ventures that the lesser beings was using to try to conquer the so-called gods.
Right.
Right. So they put all of these councils and committees together so that they can use multiple individuals' brain power to usurp us. The problem is that ain't gonna work.
Oh, wow. So another question that one of the other sisters had is the knowledge of non-ether is very complicated. Could you give it to them in a more simplistic way? Like what non-ether is, how it works, and how it personified itself as flesh and blood beings in the form of our race, dark-skinned, woolly-haired people?
Okay, so when we talk about the non-ether being, look at it like the body. The earth is a living organism, and the non-ether beings is the antibodies. The energy that produces the non-ether being is pure source energy. If it produced more than one of them, it produced what we call the gods, plural. If only one is produced, it's a god, right? So the non-ether beings are the ones who nature used as antibodies to clean up the mishaps of developing humanity. So when we say non-ether, you're talking about the highest spiritual expression, and it comes across as the salt of the earth in the music and the art and varying forms of entertainment. The non-ether is expressed as a right brain, abstract, non-linear reasoning that surpasses logic. The inorganic beings and the hybrids that's here operate off left brain linear logic, and is subjugated to the right brain when they synced.
So isn't that like saying that non-ether is more of the feminine principle than the masculine if it's more right brain? Because the right brain.
So if you want to read about it without using the term non-ether, you would go to India and read about something called Shakti energy.
Okay, I'm familiar with that by studying Hinduism.
Right. So the Shakti energy is the same as the non-ether energy. If you were Egyptologist, you would read about it as Sekhmet energy.
Okay, Sekhmet means power, and it's the feminine of Sekhem.
And the man who is privy to carry the Sekhmet energy is normally going to be volatile if he don't have his self-control developed, what we call he haven't become a master yet. He haven't mastered his lower nature.
Okay, so expound on that a little bit. Like, because what you just said was that the man who carries the Sekhmet, which is the feminine energy, but don't really carry the or I should say, he's not really in tune with the sekim, the masculine energy, he said he'll self-destruct.
Right. He becomes tyrannical by nature. It's just natural for him to do it. It's just like giving a baby a nuclear briefcase wide open and don't never tell him he's gonna end the world if he push the button. And you know what the baby gonna do? Slap all the buttons.
He sure is.
So that's all that's all it is. When you feel that power, if he haven't conquered his ego, his lower nature, then he becomes subjective to tyrannical use of that higher energy, because one, it's going to drive him to destroy because the system is out of order. But if he haven't conquered his lower nature, he will never know what part of the system to fix. So he just tear everything up.
Oh yeah, he out of order. He definitely out of order.
So we call them, when you look in the human arena in history, we call them despots. We call them tyrannical leaders, psychopathic leaders, rogue kings, stuff like that is in the history when they get that energy and haven't conquered that lower nature.
And
so
what is
we still talking nine ether, we just using it in different schools of thought. In Egypt, Sekhmet, and India is Shakti, right? And the Shakti is activated by the Kriya, which is the fire of the root chakra, right? And it carries all the way up to the crown. Okay, so they say in the Kabbalah is from Malkuth to Kephra. In the Kabbalah, the same energy is called the Ein Sof.
Right, I know about that. I studied the Kabbalah extensively.
Right,
and
so
the
it's the same energy.
Okay, so let's go here with it. In the Holy Tablets, the Master Teacher taught us that non-ether was conscious awareness and conscious moral judgment gases. Can you explain the difference in how that's actually perceived? Yeah.
So as you purify your ego to receive your higher consciousness, right? You got to remember, pure chaos is melanin. Melanin is sentient on its own. It don't need nobody to be sentient. But being utilized along with the other systems of the body, then the non-ether has to be the one who contain the chaos and bring the balance. The balance is where you find the righteous.
Okay.
Right? The righteousness is a side effect of purifying the lower ego and receiving that higher Shakti non-ether energy.
So basically, are you saying that non-ether would be a higher form of intelligence that allows us to be able to discipline ourselves in the spiritual realm and the physical realm to be able to be in harmony with both sides?
Well, I would more look at it like once you gain the discipline, you gain access to use non-ether energy in real time. Lacking the discipline and the self-control, then you just a Sakomao monkey band, bouncing around, never knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the discipline gives you access to the non-ether. Now you finna make a connection with source energy. When you make this connection, you have to already have the self-discipline to activate what's already in you. So now the side effect of that is once you can reason to the level to activate the non-ether, now the melanin chaos comes in, because you won't be able to balance the chaos if you don't have the discipline to receive the non-ether. And the chaos is melanin. When it come in, it's going to automatically send you on an immediate downward spiral to your lowest base nature to return and rise back up as the phoenix.
Why is that?
Because it's chaos. When it first hit, it's like a bomb. And when it hit internally, you don't know what's going on immediately, but your higher self is using the discipline you develop to reorganize what the chaos is doing, because you're using the source, you're using the prime creator to balance out total insanity.
Okay, so why is melanin based in chaos? Can you give us the science of that?
It's not based in chaos. It's the prime creative substances in which the order came from. When we talking about melanin, we talking about in Egyptology, it's the primordial noon, right? It's the waters of creation, and the waters are running amok until you can harness them waters' energy. Water
Right.
symbolic of spirit.
Right, because I remember when Pops was teaching us about noon and basically undifferentiated matter, he was explaining how this is a state of nothingness, basically a state of existence before things actually combined and aggregated and came together to form what we see now today in the physical realm.
Yep. So it's like if you pour a soda pop in the glass, it's going to fizz. It's not fizzing because it couldn't fizz in the bottle. It's only fizzing because you just poured it into a cup and disturbed it.
Right.
This is what the melanin is doing. So now, as you learn to control pouring the soda in the cup in order to reduce the amount of fizz so that you don't overflow the cup, this is how you your higher self is organizing the chaos energy, and it uses your self-discipline to do it.
Now, when you look in like Google or different scientific books of ancient Greek mythology, they attempted to teach us that chaos was a Greek god that represented the universe when it wasn't unformed. Or, excuse me, when it was unformed, when it was undifferentiated matter. How would you go about explaining that to the grassroots?
So the Greek sciences comes from the Egyptian knowledge. The metaphors that they're using in the Greek is actually a science. So when they're talking about chaos, they literally talking about the primordial noon. So imagine all good and bad things existing in a state of non-existence, bumping into each other, and there's no form of expression, and it's just random and erratic.
Right.
In order to have creation, you have to bring that under control of order. And this is why they say out of darkness comes the light. Light is created. If you remember in the Holy Tabs, Pops talks about the dot forming a line.
That's in chapter 1, tablet 1.
Yeah.
And the line formed the wall formed the square, and so on and so forth.
He's telling you how light is created from the primordial noon in order for it to manifest visible spectrum so you can see it.
So was that this is for the people, was that a literal line, a literal wall, or what does it represent metaphorically?
Metaphorically, there's no terms in the languages that we know on the earth to explain it. And the closest thing that he can give you to explain it is the dot forming the line. Because you can use the 2D written expression to relay a 19-dimensional framework in a simplified form, but it's going to take years for the mind to unlock it.
Okay, and that's now that you say that, another question that came up in the conversation with a couple of the sisters that's in our class. You mentioned the 5D. So let's say 3D, 4D, 5D. I want you to kind of sort of in simplistic terms explain what is a dimension, and then from there, what is a third dimension, fourth dimension, and fifth dimension?
Okay, so now what we're looking at when we're talking about the dimensions is levels of frequency and how the frequency is expressed so that the mind can perceive what the frequency is telling it. So when we talk two-dimensional, we talk about that thing which is written on a flat surface. That's the 2D. When we talk three-dimensionally, we're talking about a fixed position reality that have three forms of existence: solid, liquid, and gas. When we get to the fourth dimension, this is the plane of force. This is the field of mind. And by the way, that's the dream realm, the fourth dimension.
That's in the tablets 2, chapter 7, the living soul. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, oh man, you're right on it. So the dream realm is where we create the lower realms, 3D, 2D, like that. The dimensions is described in 3D as like different light rays. Like the light take on the spectrum and we can only see a small portion of it.
Right.
So the portion that's above our perception would be higher dimension, and those which is lower from lower perception is what we would call lower dimensions. The 3D is where all of the upper dimensions is expressed in the physical realm. This is the best way to describe 3D is 3D fixed position reality, having a God particle as a stabilizing link. So when they discovered the Higgs boson in 2012, that was discovering the wall that the line created. Because it's all condensed light rays. Everything that we think we see as a physical object on a molecular level is nothing that we think it is.
Right. That's why they say the physical world is an illusion.
Yeah. So when you study epigenetics, you realize that wherever we are in truth, we not really here. We projected here in consciousness. So the easiest way to explain our collective unconscious, where we all linked, is like a big bag of water, and you dropped it on a pin cushion. Every little stream of water that comes out of that is one of us, but the source bag is Prime Creator.
Got you. So go ahead.
We call it a mastermind, like Napoleon Hill Mastermind Group, and the Law of Success explains it perfect, where it can be used. So the whole world of thinking people forms a egregore, which is a thought form. The egregore then takes on its own life separate from those who created it. The whole trick of the secret society is learning to take control of the egregore of humanity, which goes back to the 100 monkey effect.
Nothing but an illusion. You only had two presidents out of 46 that tried to like make some form of a significant change, and they were assassinated. So 44 out of 46 presidents, basically did everything that their puppet masters ordered them to do. And there's been no president to change the economic status or the fact that we're looked at as fourth and fifth class citizens in this country. There's been no presidential candidate to change that dynamic, and I don't believe that there ever will be.
That's something the president can't change anyway. He can't do nothing to make people treat people any kind of way. He don't have that jurisdictional authority. Right. But the whole political stage show is a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason it's there is so that you don't know that we being dictated to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They attribute the writing of the bills to this senator or that congressman. They ain't wrote jack. They didn't write nothing. Somebody gave it to them and said, "This is your agenda." That's part of the process of being over there. If you realize that it's a political satire and stop participating in it. But as far as them trying to disrupt the energy, they don't schedule it because Brother Rich scheduled the show. They schedule it based off time, day, and stellar alignment. Because that's how they determine how to interrupt the energy. By timing, day, and stellar alignment. And if they can control when the energy is disrupted, they can control the outcome of putting the energy back in order.
Indeed. Fire. Somebody is a little upset in the chat, and they keep writing, name one female. Well, I don't know if they're upset, but they keep writing, name one female in the Galactic Council. So go ahead, y'all. What's going on? Any females in the Galactic Council? Because
the Lyrans have a council of female advisors to the Galactic Council, and a representative that sits on the Galactic Council that's female. The Arcturians have two people sitting on the council, one male, one female. I'm not gonna go through the whole Galactic Council, but there's plenty of women on the Galactic Council.
Okay. All right.
According to the Dogon, the center of the galaxy is female.
Yeah. Yeah, Big Mama controlling everything anyway, so.
And we call her Power, and that's why she's on the 13th zodiac seat, dead center in the temple of GINDJAB.
All right, let's get to another question. Hopefully this person isn't as mad. Are the entities that are pulling up to assist humanity new breeds of humans?
I would call them ancient breeds.
Say that again.
Well,
say that again.
I said I would call them ancient breeds.
Okay.
Them bloodlines are not what we have become on Earth now.
Okay.
Remember, they were separated, genetically separated for a long period of time. And what happens, you develop from a lion and a tiger from the same source.
Right.
Fundamentally different cats, but they're compatible with each other sexually.
Okay.
Well, some of the entities, the new breeds, I think I touched on it before when I said that a lot of the Zeta reticular grays, a lot of them, they don't have reproductive organs, so they got to house the bodies of NPCs or people who are operating from a low vibrational state in order to carry out an agenda with the Majestic 12. So that kind of like correlates to everything as far as like breeding a different entities for the next timeline.
Yeah, that's what they were abducting those women and putting fetuses in them to replicate themselves because they can't reproduce on their own.
Facts.
Yep.
Indeed. All right. Let's get to another.
Those CASHAPPs is wrong.
It's wrong.
If you write them like they wrote there, you're gonna get some different people.
That's not your Cash App, bro?
Only 2 capital letters, the S and the A.
Well, I think it'll still work even if it ain't capital.
It'll work.
Yeah, it'll still work, right?
Yeah, it should.
Yeah, it should still work, right? I'll check on my joint. Let me see. Yeah, Rod, your joint still come up. Rodney Hayes, yeah. It still come up without the capital letters. Yeah. All right. Let's get to another question. What are some spiritual practices to do with a newborn?
You definitely want negative people out of your life, and I don't care who they are. If they're even if it's one of your parents, one of your siblings, one of your cousins, you don't want to be in close proximity with too many, like too much negative frequency.
Yeah.
Well, home births. Black women got to start doing a lot more home births. That from the inception, that disconnect themselves from contract law and things of that nature.
So some of the things you can do with a newborn to help them develop is ritual massages on a daily basis, water massages when you give them a bath. You know, they like the feel of the mother's hand or the father's hand while you bathing them, rubbing their body. You galvanize energy, and you make the child feel protected and safe, even in the condition of the water. Right? So you make them less likely to be fearful, more likely to feel secure in who they are as they develop.
Right. Wow.
You do stretching exercises with the newborns. Because this allows their muscles to start activating cartilage and gristle to keep them strong. Those are all physical and spiritual practices. Because when you start exercising the body, you exercise in their spirit.
Exactly. Right.
I heard there was a certain amount of time where if you keep the placenta, if the baby keeps the placenta attached to it for a certain period of time. I heard that was beneficial as well.
That's part of pair bonding, where the mother suckle the baby in breast milk. The chemical oxytocin is then triggered. And when the right chemical balance between the mother and baby to tell both of them energetically they secure, the placenta will then get a blast of oxytocin to release it
Okay.
with several other hormones. But they flip the cord, and this is the number one cause of postpartum depression. When they flip the cord, the energy from the placenta tell the mama abort, abort, abort. The baby's aborted.
Damn.
But when you leave it attached until the placenta released, then the energy tells the mother's subconscious it's a healthy, happy baby. And the chemical response that goes back into the placenta once the baby's milk begin to digest tells the mother that the baby is strong. These are all of the information she needs in order to be comfortable nursing and caring for her child and triggering her mother mode, the highest frequency of woman.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, we're gonna do let's see, I think we're gonna do one more question before we get out of here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. First of all, shout out to everybody who's well, somebody asked where's Sister Myra. Sister Myra's chilling. She was just at the gathering. Mistress, she was at the gathering of masses. Were you there or did you see it? She did a magnificent job at the gathering, but she's chilling. Sister Myra's chilling. She's doing great. Let's see. Okay, last question before we get out of here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we ain't talking about Donald Trump tonight. I don't want to hear about. I don't want to hear about Donald Trump. I hear about him enough. I don't want to hear about him tonight. Not on this show. Not on the show called New Species. I don't want to hear about him on this show. But listen, somebody's asking who's behind the ice wall? When are they coming to help? If they are even there. If they even are. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So the ice wall is not what people think. It's just the frozen polar cap. Right. But under that, if you go to TikTok and type in Antarctic pride, it'll pull up the people that lived under the ice that the scientists thawed out, and they gonna tell you they took them from Africa. They ain't taken from Africa. They was down there frozen in the ice. And psychically, they told them how to throw them out, which gave them the science of defrosting people from cryostasis.
I was gonna add the etymology of the word Atlantis goes back to the Greek god Atlas. And when you study who the Greek god Atlas was, he was the Titan that was bound in chains and forced to hold up the earth from the bottom of the earth. And so, you know, that's his name was literally Atlantis, which was translated to Atlas. So if Atlantis is associated with the location of Antarctica, then that I would assume that, you know, that so-called ice wall is actually the frozen continent of ancient Atlantis.
It's a frozen continent because ancient Atlantis was a global empire.
But yeah, I believe the Atlantis or Antarctica was the capital.
They got a whole lot of pyramids down there. They got some ancient laboratories. They found a lot of stuff when they went down there. Adolf Hitler got the map from, if you go back and watch where the Thule Society sent them, they sent them to the Himalayas. And they told him what he was looking for. And he was looking for a map that tells them where everything was in what's currently called Antarctica. And from that map, they launched an expedition to Antarctica, and that was the first contact right contemporary with Admiral Richard E. Byrd. That's what made America sent him down there, because they tracked the German warships going to Antarctica. So they sent Richard Byrd to investigate what they was doing down there.
Right.
Also, beyond the ice wall, you got fifth dimensional resources called anthracite coal, and it has like 300,000 times of terawatts worth of power. Basically, it can power like 300,000 homes for like a whole year. They have like minerals and resources beyond the ice ball in that landmass.
Indeed. Yeah, well, I talked to Rod and B-Dale on the phone, and I told y'all I was working on the I'm gonna do some research on the Black Sun documentary, and I want to get y'all on it, and I want to really go into it. My spirit is telling me, I was telling y'all, my spirit is really guiding me to do something based on it or whatever. Why was, just so the people could know, why was Hitler so fascinated with the idea of the Black Sun? Why was he researching it so much? What did he know about it that probably a lot of other people didn't know at that time, or even know right now?
Because that's the most powerful source of energy in the known universe. It goes from dark energy, then to ether energy. Then ether energy produces radiation, and from that radiation we get fire and we get electric forces, and from those electric forces we get magnetism.
But it starts with the Black Sun, you saying?
Oh yeah, it all starts with the dark energy.
The dark energy. Okay.
In the secret society, the Black Sun is in reference to the son of the Black Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
The biblical code. This takes you back to your Boys of Brazil Obama connection. You don't deep into, but everybody said that Hitler was cloning himself. He wasn't cloning himself. He was cloning Akhenaten.
Who hit? Hold on, see, dig go Rod again. Hold on. Did he go with that shit again? You couldn't let one show go by without saying some wild shit. Hold on. Rod, you said Rod be saying some wild shit. Rod, I told y'all it was coming tonight. Rod, you said Hitler was cloning Akhenaten?
Yeah, because they believed that Tutankhamun was going to come back as the heir, and they wanted to usurp his jurisdictional authority by cloning and controlling the clone of his father.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem they ran into was Akhenaten's reign and his time at the top was over.
Right.
And he can't reclaim the throne and displace his son.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
So in the holy drama, it would be the equivalent of Horus's rising to the throne. Somebody clone Osiris and say, stop him from rising to the throne. The problem that creates is both Horus and Set both gonna whoop his ass instead of just him dealing with Set.
Right. Damn.
And another thing, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was a part of the cloning process. That's why a lot of the soldiers, a part of that Nazi regime, they used to put a lot of